to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everybody, my name's Derek and I'm a member of the Plus Platoon. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classics Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I would like to welcome in Sam. Sam, how you doing this evening? Sorry.
It's all right. I'm doing great this evening, Derek. I'm loving the background I see a bunch of Disney posters in your background. Really nice.
This is what happens when you have a water leak and your green screen gets wet.
Oh my goodness. Well, I actually am really enjoying the natural background.
Thank you. Okay.
Really fun.
We will see if that keeps up. Next, we will add in Rebecca. Rebecca, how you doing over there?
I'm good. How are you? Over there.
Okay. See, you're in a different spot this week. You gotta get your head motions different.
Well, you wanted to put me down on the bottom, and that doesn't work.
No.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
and this is temporary, Rebecca. Okay, this is temporary. Trust me. Next is Pete. Pete, how you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm glad to be back on the show. I was off last week, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, we missed you when you were checking out Harry Potter World.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We got back from Universal just last night, so it was hard to catch up, but I'm all caught up. I'm ready for tonight.
Good. And we have got Kate and Kat.
And her cat, who is very, very needy. I don't know why. Because I went and stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and he's missed me. So,
Nice.
Hi everybody! It's good to see your faces.
You too.
Yeah. So, going to start off tonight, as we always start off, with some Disney Plus news. Sam, what have we got going on this week?
Thank you, Derek. Everyone, we have some exciting Disney Plus news. We have a couple of things that are kind of coming out a little bit in the distance here, but it was just announced that Hocus Pocus 2 finally is coming to Disney Plus. But I'm sorry to tell you, it's not coming until fall of 2022. So we're probably talking pre-Halloween 2022. But in a few weeks, we're going to see the Mysterious Benedict Society series. The first season begins June 25th, and that will be one episode each week released for a total of 8 episodes for season 1. That looks like a really good series. It's about a bunch of kids who end up at this kind of mysterious school, and they have to help to basically defeat a world plot. So it's a really good book series, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Coming out this Friday, the new Cruella movie, which is an origin story of Cruella, starring Emma Stone, and it comes out on Friday, but it's a premium, so it's a $29.99 fee on Disney Plus this Friday. And then in a couple of weeks, we will see Raya and the Last Dragon coming without a fee to Disney Plus. It's currently available on premium, but on Friday, June 4th, it becomes available to anyone with a Disney Plus subscription. So we will be talking about Raya and the Last Dragon in a couple of weeks when it's free for all of us. Back to you, Derek.
Really looking forward to that one. I will be one. I have not bought it on premium because I'm a cheap teacher like that. But so I'm looking forward to seeing that. We will be talking about that on June 9th. So that will be our topic again. So make sure you watch it come June 4th. This week, we are talking about the Fury Files. I will be the first to admit this week was a little thin on what was released that was new. Originally, it was going to be the Akashinga documentary. It did not show up this week for some reason. Because Disney didn't want it to. So we watched the Fury Files. So, Pete, are the Fury Files hot new intel or nothing but a bunch of cold cases?
I'm going to call it a bunch of cold cases because I thought this was a good idea. Let's have a show that tells us more about some of the different Marvel characters. Not really realizing that all it was are like 2 to 4 minute segments that talk about the animated cartoons. I would assume like Marvel's Avengers. I can't say I know the kids cartoons that well, but so they have some voice actor who is not Samuel L. Jackson talking about, the first episode was about Hawkeye, and then they have episodes about different characters. They have an episode about the Skrulls, so they have about like a whole group of villains or whatever you want to call it. And then some of them even got to, like, they had one on Phil Coulson, who anyone that might have watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or the early Marvel movies will remember Phil Coulson as played by Clark Gregg, and he even voiced it, but it was like a 2-minute introduction to him and just kind of basically said, hey, not all heroes are superheroes, and it was like 2 minutes long. Even for how short this is, I don't think it's worth anyone really catching up with it unless you're really into the animated side. And if you're into the animated side of things, you probably already have seen the clips that are in here in the actual episodes. If you're a fan of the Marvel movies, I don't think it tells you anything at all, because the MCU is very different from the comics and animation, as far as not very different, but somewhat different. So it's not necessarily going to say the same thing. So I watched 4 or 5 of them, and that was enough for me to know that I didn't need to see the rest. So what do you think, Kate?
I agree 100%. I was really excited that because I love Marvel, probably not as much as some of the other people on this whole thing, but Rebecca, I'm looking at you. It's fine. But I was really excited to kind of get a brush up on all of the characters, and I made it through maybe 3, and there's like 14 or something like that. I felt like I was waiting in line at the theme park across town for the Spider-Man ride. It's the exact same animation that is in the queue line of the Spider-Man ride. And I've never been, I loved cartoons as a kid, but I love the live action Marvel. Getting into, now I will say the Miles Morales Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie is very good, but I couldn't get into it. It felt rushed. It felt unneeded. And I was really looking forward to getting to dig deeper and learn more about these characters, but I couldn't. It's a big flop for me. Oh, Derek, what about you?
I know who the target audience is for this. The target audience for this is my wife, because she's even less Marvel than I am, and that's, saying something. But she said that if she wanted to catch up on Hawkeye, for example, she has no idea who Hawkeye is. This let her get a little bit of a background information on Hawkeye without having to actually watch any of the Avengers movies. That is the target audience for this. Okay. Is it a standalone series? No. Is it something that I need to go watch all 14 of to feel caught up? No. But if it's hey, wait a minute, who's Hawkeye? You can jump on here, or who are, help me, the aliens, the shape-shifting aliens.
Skrulls.
The Skrulls. Who are the Skrulls? There's an episode on here about the Skrulls. There's an episode on here about Red Hulk. If you have no idea who that is, it only takes 3 minutes of your time. So that is the target audience. And so did I enjoy it? No. But I probably enjoyed it more than anyone else here, because I've probably seen less Marvel than anyone else here. So, Sam, your thoughts?
Oh, gosh. Okay, that's how I felt about this. This was terrible. Not just a disappointment, but awful. Snooze fest, 100%. I could not pay attention to it. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I thought it was terrible. I would watch maybe some of the animated series that the clips were from so that I could see like a storyline and a real show. But I don't know what the heck this was. Honestly, it was just abysmal. I can't say anything else. It was so bad. I don't want to waste another breath. Rebecca?
So we watched only a couple of them, and because you guys had watched it first and like commented, like you guys had told everybody, oh, it's really bad, don't watch it. I had like the worst expectations like going into it. And agreeing with Derek and agreeing with Willie, like if you have never in your life seen anything Marvel and you wanted more history, like yeah, this is another good one. But like it also reminds me of Assembled, which is a live action and has to do with the movies, you know? And so it's like, which one are you really going to watch? The Assembled ones were from this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
We come to find out, we click on the Fury Files, they're from 2013. No wonder they're not good. Like, they weren't new to Marvel. They're just...
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that they were from 20... I didn't realize that. And
so they're just new to Disney Plus, right? They've probably come out before already, and they're just old. And so they weren't, I mean, we didn't watch all of them. We were going to, and I was like, okay, they're only 2 to 4 minutes. I'm like, I really don't, I just don't want to. It was like, the one thing I will say was like the history part where she was like accessing history and she would like tell you like where they came from. That was something that I didn't really know about a lot of the characters. And I like that they weren't just like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Thor. Like it was like a bunch of people like Iron Fist. Had never heard of him before. Yeah. So it was a little bit of new intel. I'm not going to say hot intel, but it was still new stuff that like, it was okay. Yeah. I'm not going to watch the rest of them, but yeah.
Ryan says he couldn't bring himself to watch it. Didn't look interesting enough for me. Yeah. Gina says, thanks for watching so I don't have to. Yeah.
You're welcome,
Ed has kind of hit it on the nose. It's Cliff Notes for Marvel. Yeah.
But not done well.
Well, yeah. Well, he says, thought the Fairy Fire is a great concept, and I would totally agree with him here. Small clips with enough info in each to learn about Marvel characters. You can watch some or all. It's a great way to help any Marvel newcomer get a lay of the land without overwhelming them. I agree. I love the concept. Again, my wife would be your target audience because she has never watched. But
poor execution. Really not done well, to be honest. I agree the concept was an interesting and a good concept. Frankly, they did that there's the other Avengers clips, right? That Rebecca was just talking about. I forget what it was called.
Is it Assembled or is it the other one?
No, it's not Assembled because Assembled was the one that was behind the scenes. Yeah. I forget what it's called. Legends, that's it.
Legends.
It was Marvel, Marvel Legends where they did it was like a 7 minutes and it was like a background, but it was a background of from the MCU. But much better production quality and much better storytelling. I thought this was like choppy clips from cartoons that didn't make sense.
Now, I will say there is I think it's called Marvel What If series that's going to be coming out that's animated. That is what if these characters have taken totally different directions? So I wonder if this is not going to be a preview, kind of the Marvel Legends for that. So, and Melissa, think how much better these were in 13. So. Yeah.
I don't think so because I think the What If is still going to be based on the cinematic universe, even though it's animated. I think they're doing like what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers or things like that. And I think it's more off of the MCU movies than it is off of the comics, even though it's a comic. Show.
And Ryan says, Marvel What If has the actual actors doing the voices too. Yeah, this was definitely not Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And it says, are my ears okay? Derek, who doesn't normally like Marvel, actually likes the Fury Files. I didn't say I liked it. I said I knew what it was for. I said I knew for serving its purpose, I can see why they made it. Mm-hmm. So didn't say I liked it, but yeah. Willie says, can't wait for What If. I think it's the next Marvel series after Loki.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing probably 1st of September-ish.
Yeah, I can get behind that concept.
Yeah. So, okay. Next, we're gonna be going into our things, which is the next one is Bad Batch. Is it growing on you, or are you doing nothing but growing? For me, its growing pains, it's getting bogged down a little to me. It needs to move. I didn't like that they assumed I knew who that other bounty hunter type gal was. Okay. And I want to go ahead and bring the rest of the crew back in. I have no idea who that was. Was I supposed to know who that bounty hunter was that was after the gal?
Did you watch Mandalorian?
No.
Oh, then you're not.
So who is it?
It's from Mandalorian. Fennec Shand. She's actually Ming-Na Wen, who is also Mulan. But she plays a bounty hunter in the first and second season of Mandalorian. And
tell me her name. They never say her name.
Yeah, they don't. Fennec Shand. It doesn't matter. Mandalorian takes place 18 years later. So it doesn't really matter. It's just more for the people that have seen Mandalorian to be like, oh, we were all like, it's her.
But again, if you haven't ever seen it, you're lost.
And if you are watching everything in order, like if you were to go through the Star Wars universe in order, this comes before the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So just throwing it out. Anyway.
Yeah. So Sam, what are your thoughts on Bad Batch?
I didn't watch it, but I will say that I love Ming-Na Wen as Fennec in the Mandalorian series, but she's also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so she also gets in the Marvel universe as well. But I'll pass it to Rebecca because she is the
only person that is a Disney princess, a Star Wars character, and a Marvel character.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
So cool.
She's like hardcore. But anyway, like I said, over to you, Rebecca.
I really like Bad Batch. I think that it's really like was probably too strong. I think that it's fine. We'll keep watching it. What else am I supposed to do on a Friday night? But it's more of it's less Mandalorian, less Marvel action, and more just like this heart-throbbing story between like a young girl and her weird uncles, I guess. I don't know. For me, that's how I see all of the baddies. They're just I don't know. The relationship between all of them just kind of gets to me a little bit. But I think that it's fine. I didn't realize.
Okay, I gotta have the sound of Kate laughing.
That was the best description.
Rebecca, that's the line of the night. Yeah.
Weird uncles? What?
Because none of them are playing a very protective fatherly role. They're all just I will say I love Wrecker's character. He to me is the Nick of Mighty Ducks. He is just the funny one that kind of brings the joy and the humor into it. So I liked him a lot. But yeah. Pete, what do you think?
So is it Star Wars Full House?
Yeah. I guess so. The Full House is good. So
I can't say I love it. Mandalorian, I really loved. I like it. I'm enjoying it. It continues to grow on me. I do like that they've taken clone characters, but given them personalities that are kind of different as opposed to most clones, which are kind of all the same. And my wife did complain, and it's is Omega running away again? They're already doing that. Is that going to be every episode? They just chase after her. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. From an animated Star Wars show, it's probably starting out better than any of the other ones have, because all the other ones, Rebels, Clone Wars, and what's the other one, Resistance, they took a long time to have me even really excited to see the next episode. And this one, already 4 episodes in, I'm enjoying it enough that I want to see the next episode. So it's pretty good. That's my feeling. What about you, Kate?
So I really liked this show when it first started. I really liked it a lot. It held my attention more than Clone Wars did, but from what our good friend Gina has said, I need to give Clone Wars another try. Start at the 3rd season. It's fine. It is not keeping my attention. And I think part of it is because Omega keeps running away and they have to go find her. And then Omega runs away and they have to go find her. And what's Omega going to do this time? She's going to run away and they have to go find her. But it's the animation is beautiful. I still, like Rebecca said, I still love the storyline with Wrecker and with all of the weird uncles. That was the best description. But it just isn't holding. Like, I find that I get very distracted during these episodes, whereas the other shows that we're watching right now, I don't get distracted during. I didn't know about the Bounty Hunter. But I'm also not well versed in the Star Wars universe. So it's not keeping my attention. So Derek?
Actually, Rebecca.
Oh, well, I was just going to say,
Rebecca.
I think like what the rest of this season is doing is basically in episode 2, I forget who they went to go see in hiding, but basically it was the family of 4 that had the 2 kids or whatever, and Hunter was talking to the mom and was like, oh, I just don't know how to do with this. And she was like, oh, well, kids just always find their way into trouble and you'll always be getting them out of it. And so now literally every single episode, she finds herself in trouble and they have to get her out of it. And so I feel like that's what they're going to do for the rest of the season. And it does get a little repetitive. How many things can she, get into without it just like before she learns a lesson? So.
Yeah, I think we need to get to more of a, I'm assuming, because most of these shows get to an overarching story eventually, and I think we need to start getting to that as opposed to just the Bad Batch hanging out. Yeah,
I don't think it's coming this season.
Maybe not.
Ryan says, Bad Batch, watch some, can't do any more. I get it. Willie says he's liking Bad Batch, it needs some action. Exactly, something needs to happen. Okay, and chasing Omega is not something happening. Okay. We said, it's Fennec was Boba Fett's partner. Gina loves the Bad Batch, but she's watched all the Favreau and Filoni episodes. So whoever those are, sure.
Isn't that the director?
They're the producers and directors.
Oh, okay,
of
gotcha.
Mandalorian.
Okay.
Favreau is Marvel, right?
We're doing really good, guys. We're doing really good.
Ed liked the Bad Batch. Yeah, saw Captain America when Bad Batch flew past a moon. Gina thought, find out her unique ability at the end of season 1. Yeah, we still don't know what Omega's ability is because she said a clone that has an ability. I think end of the season is going to be Crosshair is going to have them in his sights, and does he pull the trigger? And then they cut away, and that's the beginning of season 2. I think that's going to be the end of the season because it's that.
I continue to hope she is not force sensitive because I do not want that.
Well, I think she is.
No.
Yeah. So, okay. Next, High School Musical. Miss Kate, are we cheering for High School Musical, or are we starting to kind of jeer it a little bit?
Yeah. Great question. I still love it. But I am a sucker for shows like this. I'm a sucker for shows like Glee. And I will say that every episode of the second season is more and more like Glee. Where like this episode, the 3 girls, they were like, picture it with like a dance floor and sparkly. And then all of a sudden they were that, which I loved, but it is very Glee. So the dancing is extraordinary. Big Red tap dancing brings my tap dancer heart so much joy. I can't even put into words. And just for the record, the move that he did, that he fell on, that is not an easy move to do. No. And I have fallen during doing that move. So just for all of you who aren't tap dancers out there, just because he fell during it, that is a very hard move to do. Or it's not very hard, but it's not super, super easy. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite Disney movies. It is one of my least favorite Disney stage shows. So it's doing good. I would say it's kind of doing I sound like a Nancy negative. Like I'm just like, I don't like anything.
Hey, join my club. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's going down just a little bit. I don't really entirely know where they're going with it. That's my thoughts. Derek, what do you think?
I'm still liking it. I have my same critique as last week. Ditch the production numbers. Okay. Love the music. Would have loved to see those girls on stage singing that. When they go to the production numbers, the lip syncing is so off, it's distracting. Okay. Because, I don't think they held one camera shot for more than 2 seconds in that whole number. So it's just, I get it. I loved the music. I think those ladies have amazing voices. I loved the audition scenes. I loved the, yeah, you're that guy. So, pretty much checks out. You always bail on everything. I mean, I loved that moment. But I mean, you could tell when the new girl, and do we know her name yet? The blonde?
I don't know if we know her name yet. Okay. I can't remember.
Well, when she walks in wearing the Belle outfit with the little rose pendant even, you knew she was either going to get Belle or she was going to be nothing but trouble. And now we know she's nothing but trouble. So I liked it. I'm going to keep watching it. Definitely. Is it predictable? Willie Ryan says there's no way Nina stays at the boarding school. Calling it now. You're absolutely right. She's coming back. And I hate to say I know that because they've actually put episode summaries out ahead of time.
Ooh, don't be reading those.
Yeah.
You said it's spoiler filled, but
yeah, but not spoiler filled for what hasn't come out yet.
But anyway, who is surprised at that? Really?
Yeah.
No.
Especially after this episode.
Yeah.
So, he did love the original music though, which I totally agree with. I did love the, the go and do my best to go and marry Belle or whatever the line is. How he's going, do my best to go and marry Belle. Not really that interested in that. So just the look on his face, and I can't. Guys, one thing, if you don't know about me right now, I am terrible with names. I am horrible with names. So the choreography guy, Carlos. Yeah. When he said, I'm gonna go and marry Belle, that was the one line he kind of flat toned and almost blew that line because I don't want to do that. Yeah. No, So, but I liked it. So, Sam.
Thank you, Derek. I will say I think it's cheesy and predictable. But I'm liking it. I like the music. I like the dance numbers. I really enjoyed how they did the little town, the number from Beauty and the Beast. I'm going to tell Kate that she is going to have to sit there in her wrongness and be wrong because Beauty and the Beast makes a wonderful stage show, but she just hasn't seen the right version yet, which is you need to sail on the Disney Dream and see the stage version on the cruise line. Okay? Because it is Beauty and the Beast on the Disney Dream is fantastic. Like, it is one of the best productions of Beauty and the Beast done ever. So you need to sail on the Disney Dream to go see it, though. And hopefully we'll be sailing soon. But yeah, anyway, I thought it was fun, predictable, though. And I'm not loving the storyline with Nene at the boarding school because it's just kind of, ho-hum, and there's not really much going on there. I did like one thing, I will say, that was maybe a little not predictable, as Kate's cat appears on the screen. But I like that Ashlyn was the one who got chosen as the lead, as Belle, instead of not just the new girl, but instead of Gina, I think is her name, the one who's a wonderful dancer, who we kind of all thought was kind of the heir apparent to
the one that's going to be the feather duster.
Correct. Right. I thought she's wonderful. She's a perfect choice for the feather duster. But she's a star and she's an amazing dancer. And I think, like I said, she was kind of the heir apparent to Nene when Nene went to boarding school. But I really liked that they chose Ashlyn. She's not necessarily the expected female ingenue. And I think she's a great choice for that role. And it's a little bit of a different take on Belle, and I like that. And then I will pass it to Pete because I think Rebecca did not watch it this week. So
I am totally not the audience for this show. I don't know why I love it. I don't know. I guess I should be watching Glee because I never really got into Glee. I watched a couple episodes. But I enjoy this show a lot, and I don't know. You stole my thunder because I was going to say I loved that they gave Ashlyn the lead. Instead of the obvious was to give it to Gina. And I thought it was interesting though, because like last season they kind of had for a while, like at first Gina was kind of one of the bad guys and EJ was kind of a bad guy. But by the end of the season, everybody was a good guy. So they had to like bring in this other girl. And you knew as soon as like she showed up, it's like, well, this is going to be the bad guy this season. It's going to like try to ruin relationships and everything like that, which is not, as you say, the show's very predictable, but I enjoy the singing. I enjoy just the exuberance of it all. And I'm going to keep watching. So, if you like just a fun, silly show, there's not a lot of depth to it, certainly, but I don't know. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. So next up, Miss Rebecca. I know we skipped you. You haven't been watching High School Musical. What are you thinking of the Bad Batch lately? Is it an airball or is it nothing but net?
Big Shot.
Bad Batch has nothing to do with basketball.
Sorry, Big Shot. I'm sorry.
If I missed the episode where they're playing basketball in space, you gotta let me know. I'll go back and watch it.
I would watch that one.
Okay,
yeah, exactly. I would love to watch the episode where they play basketball.
Rebecca, talk to us about Big Shot. Is it going to be an airball or is it going to be nothing but net?
Can we say like a bounce in, like an off the backboard type of thing?
That's what I was gonna say. You stole my
line. I think that the last episode, the one before the one we just watched, episode 5, they had talked about Luis's dad being arrested, and Sam and I dived into that with also the different the social media stuff that had been going on in that episode as well. And then this episode, this new one, they kind of like have really jumped the gun on a lot of that stuff. I don't think it's very easy, the social media stuff, to just like be one and done and over with it. I do like that she's getting a little bit of feedback from other people who are not a part of the basketball squad. But a lot of this episode really surrounded being true to yourself, and that was in multiple of the characters, where you had you had Destiny signing the petition to get Luis's dad's name off of the basketball courts, and then there was also the coach, Coach Holly, when she had to be true to herself when she was talking to the Carlsbad coach and stuff like that. To me, I still really like this show. I think that I still really resonate with a lot of the team sports stuff that they're having to deal with and go through together. And I think that it really highlights that, and also merging social issues that are still prevalent to that age that they're in, and stuff that we're going through now. I think that it's good. I'm going to keep watching it, and it's one of the ones that I actually enjoy looking forward to. I like that it really is now more focused on the kids and not much Marvin Korn, which I know Pete and I have talked about in recent episodes too, that yes, he still has that like budding relationship with the drama teacher, but this one really was a lot about the kids and like how they're going through different trials and tribulations and stuff. So I really like this show. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't like it as much as you do. I'm still enjoying it enough to watch. It's definitely not an airball, but it's not really in my frame of it's watching basketball as a hockey fan, right? Kind of. I do think that when they're telling us that, I think the way the show works the best is when they're talking about the main girls and the issues that they have, and trying to keep it relevant to today's. I mean, I think that's really something they're doing well, is keep it relevant to today's problems with Instagram, and that you can be kind of looked down on, be bullied on these or be persecuted on these platforms and things like that. But overall, I'm not there. There's to me like too many storylines going on, and I don't feel it's focused enough of a show, and I don't really feel like I know really what they're trying to say with it. So oops, sorry. It works okay for me, but it's not my favorite. So what about you, Kate?
So I was pretty vocal about the fact that I did not care for the show when it first started. In fact, I stopped watching halfway through the first episode and then through the second episode. But I have muscled through, and I have to say it is getting better. I actually really enjoy. I was bummed out when the episode ended and I didn't have another one to go to. So the only things that I'm like, ugh, about is I feel like they are really pushing the romance. They're really pushing the dating of the teachers. And it's like, it just feels so forced. I loved, and this was actually at the end of last week's episode, when they had John Stamos sitting and they had the text, it looked like little bubble text all around his face that were just people's comments that were so hateful and hard. And I think that is such a, I think Rebecca said this perfectly, that's such a distinction of what's happening today and how social media can make or break you, and cancel culture. I mean, this entire episode was very much about cancel culture. And that sometimes, I don't know, I still have an issue with the male coach being alone with the female student that would never happen. And I know from the teacher who's here that would never happen. Yeah, that's hard, but I like that he went to bat for his students, and I like that they came together. And I also like that they showed the coach from the other team acting like a child, because we do face that sometimes. That is a reality, and how you have to be the bigger person, although he wasn't entirely the bigger person. It was just, I don't know. This show is growing on me. I'm starting to dig it. What you got, bro?
This episode might have nicked the rim a little bit, maybe. This is not my thing. I got caught up this week because it's a case of, okay, what have I been missing? They've been talking about how it's getting better. Watch it. I will admit it's getting better than it was, but it's still not my thing. I will say that I could tell 45 seconds before John Stamos did what he did that he was going to do what he was going to do. I mean, it's standing up for his player. I didn't like that the college coach didn't see that. And because I thought it was incredibly obvious what he was doing, that, I mean, you would have thought the social studies teacher would have seen what he was doing. You would have thought that, everyone would have seen what he was doing, and they didn't. And to me, that was a little forced. Kate, totally in agreement with you that, him being alone with players. Okay, I will not say it would never happen. I would say it definitely should never happen. Because you've got those old school coaches that see nothing wrong with a one-on-one with a member of the opposite sex. So this is not my thing. Honestly, this is probably the last episode I'm going to watch of it, unless I have to watch something for the finale. So, Sam, what's your thoughts?
So I will say that I have been watching and enjoying these episodes. I will also say I enjoyed this episode a lot less than the recent episodes. And it's primarily because of Cameron Manheim's character, not her as an actress. She's the one who played the Carlsbad coach. She's a wonderful actress. But I thought that character was bananas. The way that coach was treating the players on the other team, she would have been ejected from the game after the first or second comment in any reasonable high school basketball
Yes.
arena with the referee right there to hear what she said. So to me, the way she was, not what she was saying before the game, when she saw them at practice and she was poking at them, that was more believable because there wasn't a referee right there to see it. But the fact that there was a referee there to see it at the game and that ref wasn't doing anything about it, and then when all the kids came in and were saying free, I forget the father's name, but free whatever, in order to taunt Louise, there's no way that the ref wouldn't have ejected them all from the arena as well, the way they were taunting one of the players. So to me, that part was really unrealistic. I'm not saying that totally killed the episode for me, because there were some good parts. There was Coach Korn standing up for his girls. I thought that was great. I thought the interplay between the players was really nice on the team. So there are some good things that happen there, but that part of the show really bothered me because I felt like it was really unrealistic, and they were just doing it as a plot point to set up Marvin having to stand up for the girls and to have the college recruiter there to see what was happening. So that's what kind of bothered me about the episode, just it being so unrealistic. But I still like the series. Just this episode was, I wouldn't call it an airball, but it bounced off the rim and it didn't go in this time.
For me, so I played high school sports with a male coach, and I'm on an all women's team, and I did it all through high school. And the relationship, the only thing that was weird for me was the one where he got in the car with her alone. All the rest of them have been situations in which I have been the person on the team, which from any outsider's eye who doesn't know the dynamic between a player and a coach can look very inappropriate. And I understand that from an outsider's perspective. As a player, I would go have lunch in the coach's office, door closed, nothing to me. Yeah. And it was like, maybe I wasn't ever alone, but like there'd be 2 or 3 of us. I've been in his car driving home from practice before. And it's just like there's things about that dynamic. And to touch on your point, Sam, about the other coach, there's very, for her to be ejected, no. For her to not say, for the ref to not say anything is one thing. But we have rival schools in high school too. They're not as followed as much as a college or national or state level stuff. But like in high school, I had my senior year of high school, my soccer coach left to go to go coach at my rival school. And so when we're at our senior game and it's his old team with his new team now, it was like do or die. Every single person on this field is like yelling at the other team. The coaches are yelling at like, oh, get her, and it wasn't they're not ejected. But yeah, for them to not say anything about it, 100%. And I think that dynamic is different if you're actually in, are the player and or the coach in that dynamic. You kind of understand the intentions and the tension in the room is different.
To me, as far as it got, she would have gotten ejected, right? She would have gotten a warning, and then if she continued, it would have been an issue. That's what I mean. Not she would have gotten ejected for the first thing, but eventually, if she had continued like that, I feel like a real ref would have done something like ejection.
Yeah.
Pete, you had something to say.
So, yeah, the one thing I didn't that seems very weird to me about the show, and maybe you can speak to this, Rebecca. Why does it seem like the entire school hates the basketball team? Because that's the impression I'm getting from this show is like typically like the big sport at a school, at a high school, if it was a football school, it'd be football. In this case, it's, girls basketball. It's a big private school. That's the big thing. I could see a few people not liking the basketball team, but they make the show look like that the basketball players are the outsiders and the rest of the school is all pissed that they get any kind of benefit from being a basketball player. And then, as soon as this thing comes up about her dad, they all turn on her and everything like that. I always thought like schools usually support their sports team, and it's just kind of weird watching the show and seeing the schools seem to be very unsupportive of their sports team. Do you find that realistic?
It really depends on how the players are. I went to a high school where football was the thing. It was a Texas school. Of course, football is going to be like the one thing that they care about. And we did not like our football team. I don't know what it was. It's just they weren't very good people, I guess.
Yeah.
But like on any type of sports team, you get major privileges. And I'm talking great forgiveness. You get let out early. You get to have like gifts and stuff from parents and things like that, and from other teachers.
You get the new uniforms. You get like
you literally get
good facilities.
all this stuff, and it does seem very unfair. There are some like you don't see that happening for people on math teams or robotic teams or anything else except for the ones that like quote bring in money, and so it just does not seem it's just not fair. So and that was from not a major soccer team. Even our team, people didn't like us because we got to leave early from certain class periods, and we get to go on field trips that were paid for, and our meals were always free and stuff. And so it just, I don't know.
I would say I got two different ways to go with this. First, as someone who was on Scholars Bowl teams and the academic decathlon, and we've got robotics here at our school. I think it very much depends on what school you're at. As far as which, and I think part of it might depend on if you're at a big school or a small school. And Rebecca, I don't know, how big was your high school?
I had about between 750 and 800 people in my graduating class.
And see, I had 75 in my graduating class. So I think that makes a difference. And I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. I will also say I've umpired baseball for years. So coming from the officiating standpoint, if I'm an official, I say, first comment is, okay, coach, personal attack is a coach, knock it off. So a good official wouldn't have let it got to that point. And what the heck was he doing not kicking her right out of practice? Why did he let her stand there?
Yep.
And say those things? I'm sorry. That's a coach. You need to leave right now, and I'm calling security. Okay, because she's not welcome in that building. She's technically trespassing. So, I do know Gina loved the casting. Cameron Manheim asked the casting.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree with that. I think the character was completely overdone. Mm-hmm. I think it was made to such an extreme. Brian says, he knows literally nothing about Big Shot other than what we say. Sounds like a show with a creepy guy who coaches basketball. Rebecca, I will say my dad did coach cross country, and I get the whole one-on-one conversations with the coach. I totally understand it, but prop the door of the gym open. Okay. Because to me, that makes all the difference. Make sure the door to the coach's office stays open. Mm-hmm. And I know things have changed lately. So
I think that's a big part of it. It's really the last, I'll even say 5 years.
5 years.
Because even as a manager in my job, like you have to be very careful talking to a female employee, one-on-one. So, it's just because you don't want things to seem inappropriate. It's very easy for things to look wrong nowadays. So yeah, I think that's more just a sensitivity in this day and age, more so than even say 5-10 years ago.
Yeah. I have one comment on Pete's question a little bit ago, which was the issue of, don't the rest of the school, don't they sort of support the basketball team because the basketball team is, sort of the big team. And I would say to Pete's question, there are two categories of people at the schools where there's a big sports team. There are those who love and adore the sports team and hold them up on a pedestal and follow them to every game and cheer them on and, raise money for them to get even better facilities and uniforms. And then there's the other class of people. And these are kids or families who are focused on other activities, either sports that are maybe not as popular or other types of academic or other types of clubs that don't get the funding and support of the school the way that that football or basketball team or whatnot. And there's a lot of resentment and unhappiness about that disparate use of resources. And that's true both at the collegiate level, at the high school level, maybe even at the middle school level, frankly. But I saw that a lot at my university that has one Division I sport that is very highly funded, and other sports that are not, and other activities that are less funded. So, that's what I would say too, Pete. And I think it doesn't necessarily matter the size. I think it matters more of the culture. And there's typically a mix of big fans and people who are not big fans.
Yes, I was in the indifferent category on that topic. So I was never really like rah for my school teams, but I was also never like, oh, I can't believe they're getting all this money, because it's like, and again, I went to college. It was a big hockey school, and the hockey players were treated differently, but I was like, that's how it is. So, go ahead, Rebecca.
Oh, since he's muted. So last thing that I was going to say about this, Derek, you could go if you want. If you weren't, there's no noise coming out. I forgot it. Go ahead.
We're doing really good tonight, everybody.
Yeah. Character Marvin is supposed to be Marvin Akron. He's supposed to be
Corn. Yeah.
Gotta love spell check. Supposed to be would have taken her right out of that gym, and his parents wouldn't have heard her. Players wouldn't have heard a peep. Yeah. So, moving on to our last series, we've got the Mighty Ducks. Sam, are the Mighty Ducks still playing up to form, or are they ready to be benched?
Oh, this is a good question. This was also not a favorite episode for me, because they are focusing now too much on the romantic relationships of the kids and not about the sports. I like the sports angle with these kids turning around this ragtag team into a bunch of winners, I guess. But yeah, I didn't love the relationship drama going on between Evan and Sophie and Nick, and I can't remember the other podcasting girl. But yeah, it's a little too much of that for me. The other part that didn't make any sense to me was this. So I'm a lawyer, right? And this whole qualification of the coach and qualification of the team thing just did not make any sense to me. I understood why Coach Bombay would not qualify because of his NCAA status, but then this loophole that made them qualify because they weren't recruited or looked at by a recruiter didn't make any sense. Didn't that disqualify the whole team? So I don't know. That whole storyline just was mind, explosion. Like, you are not making any sense. So that was a dumb loophole that had no logic or reasoning. As a lawyer, I say boo to that. So Rebecca, I see you were agreeing with me, so I'm going to pass it to you.
That's literally what I said. I turned to Willie and I was like, they're going to tell him that his coaching is reinstated, but the rest of the team's disqualified, because how can one thing matter but the other did? So that's literally what I said. I was like, they're going to say, but, you can't do that because the team didn't get scoured. You guys don't bother coming, and so that was funny that you said that. For the rest of the season, or for the rest of the episode, to me it's nice to watch. Nick had some funny moments. I don't really remember exactly. We watched this like literally 5 or 6 days ago whenever it first came out, and so I don't remember exactly what he had said, but it's just one of those things that, like, every time that he speaks, I literally just look forward to like laughing, and me and Willie always look at each other, and we just find joy in having him on screen and getting to talk. So I really love what they've done with his character. I really did not like the 3 girls like supposed to having a girls trip. And then also I thought it was super weird, and all of my girls know this. The absolute last thing you're going to do on a girls trip is spray each other with perfume. I'm sorry. That sounds horrible. And like on a closed bus, the last thing you're doing is like, oh, now you smell good. Like, no.
And as
like,
a coach, I'm saying no.
It's just not, it's not what you do on a girls trip. But then I thought it was very cliche. The first instance, she got a chance. She ran off to be with the boy and stuff like that. So I don't know. I wish that could have actually been a girls' night, and I would have loved to see that 3 relationship kind of open up a little bit more. But the rest of it was fine. Peter, what do you think?
Yeah, this is my favorite show out of all these ones we watched. This is my favorite show. I laugh a lot at it. As you say, Nick is like the king. Everything he says is comedy gold, just about. It was hilarious that like he's interested in the podcast girl, and his plan for that is to make sure to never say anything about it and not let anybody know. He said it's going to work, and I thought it was cool that he still ended up getting together with her anyways. But some of it was cliched, but I liked that we got to see more of the kids' personal lives and everything like that. Because as I said, that's kind of been my one complaint, is it was a little too much about the mom and Bombay. What I really liked was, and now I can't think of Laura Graham's character's name. But I liked
Alex?
that, like Alex, that's it. Alex. Yeah. And I liked that, she ended up going into work there, and, we were talking about, she's going to get fired or something like that. And instead they kind of switched it around and had the boss be just kind of like, oh man,
Stephanie.
She ended up she's getting a divorce now, and she's like, oh, I wish that this, I wish it could have been different or whatever. And they kind of bonded together, and she even helped her get there to defend the team, or to defend Bombay. I did think that was kind of stupid, the defense, but overall, I just really liked the show. I think we only got 1 episode left, right? Is that the case? So I'm interested to see how they wrap it up. I will actually be kind of disappointed if they like win the states, because that's the one.
We're not there yet, Pete. We're not there yet. We're going to talk here in a minute what we're going to want from the finale. So just hang on. Okay. Hang on to that.
I will pass it on to Kate.
Put a pin in that, Pete.
Yeah, I will.
So I again think the relationships thing is a little forced. Nick he makes this show. Everything he says, that actor his comedic timing is so perfect. The way he says things so deadpan sometimes, like that actor, I hope goes really far in his life, because he makes this show. I am not a lawyer. In fact, I don't even think I knew how to spell lawyer until I was of a certain age. But it reminded me of when they were like, no, you can't do that. Oh, but wait, this. Oh, okay. Like, in the movie Enchanted, when the little chipmunk is like, apple? No, thank you. It's good. Okay. Like, that's what it reminded me of like, no, you can't play. So, yeah. And I will say, I'm going to just push myself under the bus here with one of the girls who was in the relationship with the guy who was like, we just want different things. And he said this, and we're moving on. That was 100% me in high school. So I
can see that.
myself, like I was literally watching it and I was like, oh my God, Kate. I feel so triggered right now because that was me and Corey Simmons. That was us.
I hope Corey's watching.
Oh gosh, I still love.
Hi, Corey.
Hi, Corey.
I love this show. I also hope they don't win states. I really want this show to come back for another season. So,
okay, and with that, Kate has jumped to the next question, so we're going to mute Kate. So, and I almost made. And those of you,
that's what happens when you jump questions, Kate.
It is, yeah. So, I'm loving this show. It's time to be done. This could have been an 8-episode season. I'm not sure this episode was needed.
Totally agree with you, Derek.
The Bombay thing is overdone. You knew he was going to have problems. You knew as soon as they fired her, she was going to see the light and come back. Part of me says, for the law thing, aren't there going to be recruiters at the tournament? Aren't there going to be scouts at the tournament? So how can he coach them in the tournament? So
that whole bit was dumb.
It was just dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb, wrong, doesn't make sense, nonsense.
I would have rather seen the coach from the Ducks not betray him. I would have rather seen that happen and actually make some kind of a connection there, show some, character growth a little bit, than him go full narc on him and just be done.
Or the board overturned the decision, right? The board could have said, "Okay, we're gonna make an exception. It was the X number of years ago, and so we're gonna allow you to be a coach, or we'll allow you to be assistant coach if somebody else."
It was really all just an excuse to pull Alex back into the tournament,
into the fray. Yeah. Okay.
And it could have been done better.
So now, Pete and Kate, even. What do you want to happen in the finale? Pete.
So the one thing I haven't been liking about this season so far is that they somehow in, I don't know, what are we going to call it, 4 months, they took a bunch of kids that most of them didn't even know how to skate, and they're the second place team in the division. And it's kind of ridiculous to think that they're good enough to win beat the Ducks and to win states. And I really hope that they don't go that way and have them be champions. As Kate said, I'd like to see another season of this show. And if you want to do that in a second season, okay. But I'm sorry, I would kind of be disappointed if they put all their eggs in that basket. And, I hope they get a moral victory or something like that, and maybe win a game or two is fine. But I just have a hard time with even the original Mighty Ducks. All those kids knew how to skate before Bombay showed up, right? They weren't a bunch of people that they just plucked out of middle school and put on ice. And so it kind of feels a little hollow that there's suddenly this amazing team. But I do hope that we end the season with some kind of moral victory and, hey, we're going to be back next year, that type of thing. That's what I hope to see. Kate?
Agreed, 100%. I don't want them to win. I agree that they shouldn't have made it this far, but I guess I kind of understand the storyline. I don't want them to win, but I don't know. Derek?
Yeah, I don't think they will win. I think because you can say, see preview for next episode, looking at that, I'm not sure they win. I'm really dreading the inevitable kiss between Gordon Bombay and Evan's mom that is coming. I think it's So, Sam?
Okay, so I'm going to say I agree with all of you. I don't want them to win. I don't think they will win. But I do think they're going to win by default, because I think that the Ducks are going to somehow cheat and end up getting a DQ. So the Ducks are going to beat them, but then the Don't Bothers are going to become the champs, or it's going to be something cheesy like that because they're going to DQ.
Please no.
I'm telling you, I think that's. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm just kind of predicting. Sorry, so I'm not answering the question because I'm saying I don't want that, but I just think they're going to do something cheesy like that. Rebecca?
I can see a throwback to the first movie where they quite literally pull the footage from the first movie of the last shot of the winning game, and then Evan's standing there and they're just going back and forth between, and it's like a slow motion to the end, because that's the cheesy ending that I think will happen. Do I want that? No, I'm literally going to roll my eyes and not finish the episode. But what I want to happen is more of just I don't want to see any romantic thing between Bombay and I literally cringe. It's going to make me cry. I really don't want to watch it. I want to see just more Nick. I want Nick and Logan to like talk the whole time. If we're talking about what we want, I just want them to go back and forth and communicate with each other. But I think they're going to pull from that first movie, that final scene of the winning shot. So,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah. So next week, Rebecca, what have we got coming up next week?
So next week I closed it. I'm so sorry. Next week we are going to be talking obviously about the Mighty Ducks finale. Maybe one of our predictions will be correct and we'll get to have bragging rights until the next series or season comes out. And then for the show, we are going to be preparing for Loki. Loki comes out in June, if I'm not mistaken. And so we are going to prepare next Wednesday by watching the original Avengers, the first one that came out. We're going to watch that movie, and we're going to kind of just prepare ourselves for more Marvel. And so the Mighty Ducks finale and the original Avengers, so we can talk about that in preparation for Loki.
Okay, so that's what we've got coming up next week. Guys, please, if you have suggestions on what we're going to watch, because eventually Marvel will not have something new coming out, and we will need something to watch. So email us, plusplatoon@gmail.com. I want to give a shout out to Ed. Has an amazing suggestion for next week that I'm totally going to steal. So just keep that in mind for next week. But
I just want to say for the record that Ed and I are like this. Ed, we are like one mind. Continue.
Yeah, someone's got to share it with you. So please like us, facebook.com/plusplatoon. YouTube is Plus Platoon. Instagram, Twitter are all Plus Platoon. So with that said, we will be back next week. As Rebecca said, we're doing Mighty Ducks finale, and we are watching the original Avengers, which I will admit I have never seen. So we shall see how
Will
it
Derek
goes.
enjoy a Marvel movie?
Dun dun dun.
Place your bets now, ladies and gentlemen.
Find out next week.
Okay. Yeah, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode, because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.